Hi everybody, I am Dharma and I am here today to talk about yoga by the soul. I am here to answer some questions and to discuss this approach I have with yoga. Enjoy the video and I am always here available if you have more question about it or if you have a question about yoga in general. Thank you so much for watching and enjoy. So, what is yoga by the soul? To answer that question, I need to go a little bit back in time. And I will be short. The story could be way longer, but it's better to keep it short for everybody to follow. I have been always practicing yoga since childhood. I started with meditation at school after a judo class, and I continued with Hatha yoga with a wonderful teacher, one of the first women yoga teacher in Italy. We had two of them. One was Gabriella Cella, and she's still alive and thriving and teaching and sharing the secret and the science and the arts of yoga. And the other one was my teacher, Carla. And Carla passed away a few years ago, but she's one of those teachers that signed my path. And after practicing with her for so many years, I started a more intense practice with Kundalini Yoga as taught by Yogi Bhajan. And I always dove myself into hard practice, like hardcore practice. I was waking up very early in the morning, practicing between 4 to 5 hours of meditations and kriyas every single day. And I did that for almost 15 years. And I started teaching teacher trainings, and I started offering more workshops and more classes focused on yoga and share this beautiful, amazing practice that can really help us to feel healthier, stronger, maybe happier. But something wasn't working, like really wasn't working. So I started to go even more within, and I remembered something that my Hatha yoga teacher used to say is like everything. When I went to her to ask if I could shift and go to Kundalini yoga practice instead to continue with her, and she was like giving her blessing, and then at a certain point she said something like, everything that you're looking for is within you. It's like she was already aware that I was looking for something more meaningful. And it wasn't just hardcore practice, it wasn't just meditation for long hours, it wasn't just showing up every single time and keeping my commitments, sacrificing everything else in my life. So one day I really woke up and I said, what's going on? I'm not fulfilled, I'm not happy, I have given up so much about my life. I've given up basically everything. I moved to the United States, so I left my family behind, my parents in Italy, to pursue something. And I really, I really didn't recognize at a certain point the choices that I was making. No, they didn't have any meaning, it's just they weren't aligning perfectly with what I was really feeling from within, what I was looking for from within. And I took a break from teaching, like I stopped traveling all over the world, and I stopped traveling for teacher trainings, and I stopped literally putting myself out there as yoga teacher, and I started to bring everything, in, like, let's stop to go out and let's start to bring everything in, like how everything I have done from the outside is affecting my within world. And I found myself practicing yoga in a completely different way, more gentle, more kind, more compassionate, more loving. Like, I am important. I'm not doing this because other people will recognize how I am good in meditation. I'm not doing this because I can stand with my arms up at 60 degrees for 1 hour full without moving. Or I'm not doing this because I can actually sit in meditation for 2 hours and a half. That was my record. Even 3 hours one time, and without moving. I was doing that I was starting to practice after almost 30 years of practice. I was starting to practice for myself, for nurturing myself, for feeling myself, for observing myself, for really integrating myself, and that was a hit. So I started to teach again. I started to teach and propose classes again. And I found myself in a place I was teaching differently. I was teaching people to feel. I was teaching people to be in the present. I was teaching people to observe their body, observe their mind, observe their heart and their energy while they were practicing. They weren't just postures, they were a moment of presence and feeling from which people couldn't actually escape. I was given like an opportunity to really experience something. So when people came back to me after my recent classes to say, I felt differently. I felt part of my body that I have never felt before. I finally feel relaxed, but present and very strong at the same time. And, I don't feel tired. I usually feel tired after yoga classes. So those were just a few of the feedback that I was receiving. And that clicked into my mind. And after a few moments of difficulties in trying to explain to yoga studio owners what I really want to teach to people after all these years of experience and after my breakthrough, and not finding any reflection on the other side, like any understanding, because there is this continued understanding, there is this continued beliefs that yoga should be up and running, physical body, and but I wasn't feeling in alignment with this choice. The yoga studios nowadays, for one reason or another, they had to do. So I shifted completely, and I realized, talking with a friend of mine, that what I teach is more bringing people inward, bringing people into their presence, bring people to themselves again, to reconnect. So yoga by the soul, to reconnect. So yoga by the soul is a new way actually. Is my way. No, it's not even new. Is my way to teach yoga. Is my way to share yoga. Is my way to live yoga. Yoga is not a practice for me. It's not just simple a practice. It's not a physical practice. It's a way of being. It's a lifestyle. It's and it doesn't matter how you dress or how you represent yourself. Yoga, it's a way for me to become myself fully and completely. So yoga by the soul is a practice of becoming myself every single day a little bit more. Yoga by the soul is for people that want to feel. It's very simple. It's for people that wants to reintegrate and integrate. It's for people that wants to reconnect, ground, and center themselves into their presence on this planet Earth as human being, fully and completely. Yoga by the soul is a way to stop whatever excuses we are telling ourselves for not taking the responsibility as human being, for no really developing or sharing our gift. Is yoga by the soul is a way to say, that's it, this is what you have, and it's a beautiful combination of mind, soul, and body. And yoga and body. And yoga for many years is has been said, it's a word in Sanskrit word that means union, but very subtlety, union can mean something else. To me, yoga, and I did some research in Sanskrit, means integration of your mind, of your soul, and your body. It's like not just to unite the three components, like three small spheres, one next to another. It's really integrating like one sphere inside the other and creates that human being. Yoga by the soul develops this integration, because without presence, without being in the moment when we practice yoga, without being aware of what's going on in our mind or in our heart, there is no integration and there is no even union. So I do not separate the components of yoga. I do not separate the breath. I don't separate the physical exercise, the asanas. I do not separate the meditation. And one of the things that I really loved about Kundalini Yoga is that Yogi Bhajan offered these techniques where asana combined with pranayama and with mantra and with meditation. They are all there. All the elements of yoga are there. And then there are people that are focusing more on the alignment of the posture or on the breathing. But what if we are able to develop these components all together? When we are able to develop these components together, there is awareness, and awareness brings consciousness. And when there is a consciousness, there is integration. And in the integration, in this one sphere inside the other, then there is also understanding, because you recognize that you yourself are not separated. So yoga by the soul is for people that wants to find this integration within themselves. Integration brings awareness, awareness brings consciousness, consciousness brings creativity, and we need a big amount of creativity these days. We really need it. And as human beings, each and every one of us, no one left out, as an enormous amount of creativity. We just have been told that we don't have any, and we don't know what to do. But in the reality, if we bring the attention within, we can find that source of creativity. We can find that, I call it like a huge basket where all our ideas are stuffed in. And the moment we connect to our heart, it's like opening this basket, and we can really bloom completely and really express our creativity from the inside out. People ask me sometimes if I follow a specific style of yoga, like, oh, do you teach Kundalini yoga? Do you teach Hatha yoga? What do you teach? Yin yoga. I've been trained in 3 different techniques: Hatha yoga, Kundalini yoga, and Yin yoga. Hatha yoga, I don't like to identify myself only with one style. Of course, when people ask me to teach Kundalini yoga, I teach pure Kundalini yoga as taught by Yogi Bhajan. But when they ask me to teach yoga, I teach yoga. Yoga, the different styles are wonderful for the people that need different styles or likes to identify with different ways to practice yoga. But those are styles. Yoga is yoga, doesn't have styles. It just have maybe different path or different ways to express itself, and we can follow one path instead of another, and it's totally fine. I have reached a point that when I sit down and I practice yoga, I connect to the teachings have been receiving since all these years, since I was 9 years old, and I was little, and I was just following indication, and I studied, I practiced, I read books one after the other. I asked questions to my teachers, and I just practiced yoga. And one of my students at the YMCA in Montclair one day said, what is this style of yoga? It's wonderful, but what is? And I said, it's Hatha yoga, it's yoga. And he looks at me and said, oh, it's Simona yoga, without knowing that Simona yoga is the name of my business. So it touched my heart that this person, without knowing the name of my personal business, and without knowing, just by knowing actually my legal name, was actually referring to my style of yoga as a Simona yoga. So I'm far away from creating another style of yoga. I'm just saying I'm not attached to any specific style. If you ask me to teach Hatha yoga purely, I will teach you Hatha yoga purely. If you ask me to teach you Vinyasa, I will teach you Vinyasa. If you ask me to teach Yin yoga, I will teach you Yin yoga. And if you ask me to teach Kundalini yoga, I will teach you Kundalini yoga. But in my awareness, in the awareness of yoga by the soul, I don't feel myself to be constricted into any form of specific box that tells this is Vinyasa, this is Yin yoga, this is Kundalini, this is Hatha. Yoga is yoga. And if you are in the presence and you're focused on improving yourself in your essence, in your heart, you're practicing yoga. You're practicing yoga by the soul. And if you want to come to my classes, you can expect to have a regular Kundalini yoga classes or maybe an Hatha yoga classes with some flow. When I sit down to teach a class, the first thing I do, I tune with the people around me. So if the people around me needs some Kundalini yoga, they will get it. But if the people around me need something else, more slow, more therapeutic, they will get that. It is very important for me to be present and to offer people what they need the most. That's why I work a lot of my intuition, I work a lot on being calm and quiet, I work a lot on developing my sensitivity to really read the people in front of me and trying to offer them the best that I can to make them feel good during class and especially after class. They have to leave my class with a smile, feeling regenerated, happy, and uplifted. That's my purpose. Then if they come to my Kundalini yoga classes and they get the Hatha yoga, I'm sorry, they had to come probably another time. But I try to be always in the presence, and sometimes people don't need a Kundalini yoga classes, maybe they need a Yin yoga classes. We as a yoga teacher, I really think that it is important to tune in into the space of my students. That's my only goal when I teach yoga. Thank you.